Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
In April of 2014, the Flint City Council voted 7-1 over the course of the next 21 months to change their water source from the treated water of Lake Huron and the Detroit River to the Flint River. Over the course of the next 10 months, water safety protocols concerning the addition of phosphate to ensure corrosive metal compounds within the Flint River would not harm the people of Flint, Michigan, were largely ignored.
Residents have reported that they've found dead bodies floating in this river before, as well as GM and other companies, like Dow Chemical, they would dump a lot of their waste into this river at one time. So residents were just shocked to learn that this was where they were going to be getting their water supply from. And of course, we know there was a lot of issues with how that water was being treated.
The way EPA operates in general is that people who are causing trouble by doing their job are simply not allowed to do their job. They are silenced, as Mr. Del Toro was. He was told, as Leanne said, by the ethics officer at EPA not to speak to anyone from Flint or about Flint. He told me that himself before he was unable to talk to me anymore.
Largely ignored until local Flint, Michigan mother Leanne Walters noticed that her children were becoming very sick.
My home used to be a place of comfort and safety for my family. It used to be what a home should be, a place of peace and protection from the outside world. That was taken from us, and not just from my family, but from every home and every citizen in Flint. Now my home is known as Ground Zero. The people in Flint now stand with the people in DC who suffered their own lead crisis a decade ago, because we now know the horror of poison running through our taps and the negligence of the agencies paid to protect us. I had 3 tests done by the city of Flint using extra steps that tend to minimize lead in water. Those numbers were 104 parts per billion, 397 parts per billion, and 707 parts per billion. I contacted the EPA and started working with Miguel Del Toro and Jennifer Crooks at the EPA. Mr. Del Toro was very thorough and knowledgeable in assisting me. I told Mr. Del Toro I did not believe there was corrosion control in the water, provided him documentation about this fact, and he verified my findings, and he was furious. Mr. Del Toro questioned the MDEQ, and at first they lied, and then later admitted the truth. I figured out that Ms. Crooks was aiding the MDEQ with her lies, and Mr. Del Toro was the only one willing to address the problem. I requested a copy of Mr. Del Toro's report, and I made it public because people had a right to know. In a meeting I had with MDEQ, Leanne Schechter-Smith bragged to me about how Mr. Del Toro had been handled, that his report was flawed, and that there would be no final report. This was the ultimate betrayal for the citizens. Susan Hedman cared more about policy than the welfare of an entire community, while punishing and silencing the one person that was willing to help us. The EPA's LCR national report from 2006 states that the lack of system response for lead exceedance is especially true to inform the public. It is done less than 1/3 of the time. For my research, I have found that this is not a Flint problem or a rare anomaly. This is a national problem. Only 10 states test accurately and according to the LCR. 21 states do not reveal their sampling instructions, and 19 states have testing similar to loopholes to the Michigan ones.
You should know what happened, and it should move from being a question to actually document it, because how can you discipline someone or hold them accountable if you do not have clear information of failure of their job?
And we do have clear standards, we have clear accountabilities, we have a clear path forward. We are working in conjunction with both the city, the state, and the federal government to resolve this so it does not happen again.
What's the cost of treating the water with the appropriate amount of phosphates?
When the switch was made, there was actually no phosphate added at all. There was no corrosion control. Federal law was not followed.
No phosphates at all?
Is the water now safe to drink?
We cannot guarantee at this point in time the water is safe to drink.
When did EPA Administrator McCarthy first visit Flint about this crisis?
I believe that yesterday was Administrator McCarthy's first visit to Flint.
wasn't until yesterday that she visited for the first time. So the day before this hearing. So Administrator McCarthy knew about this crisis for 8 months, but didn't visit Flint till the day before a congressional hearing.
Their response, would you conclude, is because of a lack of clarity in the federal regulations or lack of enforcement, or both?
In a written letter I wrote to EPA Office of Water, I said point blank that the only thing I can conclude is that they don't care about children lead poisoned from drinking water.
This fumbling and secretive response to the crisis by Michigan's Department of Environmental Quality, the EPA, the governor of Michigan, and ultimately the neglect of the federal government and the President of the United States resulted in the severely high level of lead poisoning of 6,000 to 12,000 children and may have caused an outbreak of Legionnaires disease, killing 10. All roads that lead to the debacle in Flint, Michigan, dead end at the doorstep of Michigan's criminal and pitiful Department of Environmental Quality. But there were many bureaucratic back alleys along the way. Michigan Governor Rick Snyder told Time magazine on January 14th that as soon as I became aware of the elevated lead levels in blood, we took action. That was on January 5th, 2016. Many months after water testing revealed that Flint's water was unsafe to drink, that Governor Snyder finally declared a state of emergency. Federal bureaucracies, state agencies, and local officials are willfully damaging and in some cases killing American citizens due to their negligence and refusal and ability to face up to their crimes. In a true republic, the current EPA overseeing the poisoning of Flint, Michigan citizens and their children, overseeing a current toxic waste spill in Greensboro, Georgia, and responsible for polluting the Animas River in Colorado, would be immediately dismantled rather than disciplined like a wet dog.
Are the people paying right now in Flint for water they cannot wash in and cannot use and cannot drink? Are they paying water bills? And is it a part of the recovery? You said you want to make them whole. Is that part of it? Why would they be paying for water that they cannot even use that is poisoning them?
Strong words on the Hill change nothing, and the majority of American people loathe the spectacle. Lead poisoning is a growing epidemic. Pennsylvania has far higher levels of lead exposure than Flint, Michigan. Of course, you won't hear filmmaker Michael Moore going after Democratic Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf. That would diminish the media charade waged against the Republicans. It's simple. The U.S. government is a bloated circus of incompetence, and those responsible are too big to jail. John Bound for Infowars.com.
Infowars Life and InfowarsLife.com is extremely excited to announce our latest release, Winter Sun, a revolutionary type of vitamin D3. Winter Sun is a premium quality vitamin D3 nutritional supplement. It is produced by extracting oil from healthy, nutrient-dense plants known as lichens. Every batch is analyzed for purity and D3 content. It's completely free of toxins and allergens. Visit Infowars.com today or call 888-253-3139.